Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome to Sew with Mediva. And if you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to sew this gathered underbust corset maxi dress. So in my previous video, I already showed you guys how to draft out the pattern for the upper part. I'll leave the link pinned in the comment section and also in the description box. So make sure to see that video first before you watch this one. So if you find this video useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. So I've gone ahead to use the patterns to cut out my fabric, and this is what we have. So for this upper part, I went ahead to cut out 2 pieces of it, and I also cut out lining pieces for each. I added 1 inch allowance to the shoulder area because we're going to be creating our drawstring casing there, and I added half an inch all the way around it. So for this lower part, I was supposed to join it together before cutting, but I forgot, so I went ahead to cut it out, and I added half an inch to the dart areas and also to the cup area. I also have lining pieces cut out for it. So if you have enough fabric, you can use the same fabric as your lining. So for the back, I did the same thing. I added 1 inch extra to the shoulder, and I added half an inch all around it. So for the lower back, I joined the 2 pieces together before I cut out on the fabric to prevent any joining. I have 2 pieces of it and 2 pieces of the lining, and I also have 2 pieces of the yoke as well. So after removing the pattern, this is what we have. This is for the front panels, and I have exactly the same thing as my lining. So I'm going to place the lining right side facing my fabric this way, and then I'll go ahead to close up the neckline all the way down. I'll also close up the armhole area. So stitch the lining to the fabric on the neckline and on the armhole area and turn it over to the right side. When I'm done with that, I'll place these 3 pieces right sides facing each other this way and go ahead to join it together using the half inch that I added. So I'll repeat the same process on the lining pieces. I'll join all 3 pieces together. So when I'm done doing all of that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after I turned over with the lining, this is what it looks like. So I forgot to close up the armhole area, but I'm still going to do that later. So I also stitched down the lining to the curved area on the right side to just hold it firm. For the lower part, I have also joined all 3 pieces together, and I went ahead to open up the seam on the wrong side and ironed it out so that it lays down well. I did the same thing on the lining. So the next thing to do is to fit in the cups to this lower part. So I'm going to just get my cup and fold it into 2 this way to just get the midpoint on the lower part. So after getting the midpoint, I'm going to take my scissors and just make a notch on that point. So that notched point, I'm going to place it on the joining I have on the lower part this way. So place them right sides facing each other this way, making sure the notched part is sitting on the join area, and then use your pin to hold it down. So I'll also fit in the remaining part of the cup into it till the edge gets to this upper part, and then I'll use my pin to hold it down. So I'll take it to my sewing machine now and just gather the remaining part into it. So after holding down with your pin this way, go ahead to gather the excess fabric you have into the space. So when you are done, your cup should appear gathered at the base into that lower part. I hope you guys understand. So I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side. Get the midpoint of the curved area and then just fit it into the lower part this way. Use your pin to hold it down. Take the other edge and merge it to the edge of the lower part this way, and then go ahead to place the remaining part of the cup into it. So after I pleated the cup into the lower part, this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful it looks already. So the next thing to do is to turn it over with the lining. I'm going to fold the cup into it this way, and then I'll place the right side of my lining facing it this way. So you want to use this lining now to turn it over so that it appears neat on the right side. So I'll be starting from the center point. So I'll join the center point of the lining and the center point of the fabric facing each other this way, and then I'll use my pins to hold it down. So after holding down with my pin, I'm going to go ahead and start stitching from that center, and then just stitch down my lining on it this way. Just follow what I'm doing, stitch down the lining on it this way. From that midpoint again, I'll take the other side and stitch it all the way to the edge. I'll close up the sides as well and close up the other one, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after I stitched down the lining and turned it over to the right side, this is what it looks like, and this is what it looks like now on the wrong side. I'll still go ahead to iron it out. So I'm going to set this up front aside while we work on the back. So I'll go ahead to separate the yokes, and then I'll place my lining on it, making sure the right sides are facing each other. So go ahead to arrange it out this way, and then I'll go ahead to close up the neckline and the armhole area using half an inch. I'll do the same thing for the other side. I'll turn it over to the right side and I'll show you guys the next thing. So after I turn the neckline over with the lining, this is what it looks like. So always make sure to notch the seam on the wrong side and also iron it out. So I'll place the yoke facing the lower back, right side facing each other this way. I'll take out my 1-inch zipper allowance and then use my pin to hold it down. So I'm going to be doing a straight stitch for the first 5 inches, and then I will gather in the rest. So after the first 5 inches straight stitch, I'm going to then fit in the remaining part of the yoke into the lower part and just make small pleats while I join them together. I hope you guys understand. I'll stitch it down. So when I'm done stitching, I'll use my lining to turn it over. I'll place it on it this way, stitch it down there. I'll close up the zipper area and also close up the side. So I'll repeat the same process on the other one. Then I'll use my lining to turn it over. So when I'm done doing all of that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after I join the yokes to the lower part, this is what it looks like on the wrong side. I'll still go ahead to iron it out. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join the front and the back panels together on the shoulder area. So I'm going to place it right sides facing each other like this. So right now I'll go ahead to use the 1 inch that I added at the shoulder point to join it together. I'll leave 1 inch allowance and stitch it all the way down. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side and I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. So I've got ahead to close up the shoulder. So I'm going to turn it over now to the wrong side. So what you're going to do is to iron the seam area opened so that it lays down flat. So after ironing, I'm going to close it up on one side and also close it up on the other side. So by doing that, we're going to create the channel where we'll be passing our loops through. So I'll repeat the same process for the other side. I'll close it up that way. So after doing that, I'll then turn my fabric right sides facing each other this way, and then I'll go ahead to close up the sides of my dress. I'll go ahead to close up the side all the way down. I'll repeat the same process on the other side and I'll show you guys. So after I stitch the shoulder seam down and close up the side, this is what it looks like. So on the wrong side, you can see what we have. So I have holes on this side where I'll be passing in my loops to create that drawstring on the shoulder, and I have the same thing on the other side. So I've also gone ahead to create the fabrics I'll be using for my loops. So I have one side closed, so I'll get my pin, and on the side that is opened, I'll pass my pin through that point this way. So from the armhole of my top, I'm going to then pass in the loop all the way into the casing this way. Just keep passing it till you get to the neckline area. So I'm going ahead to pass the loop and it came out at the other side, so I'm going to stitch it down there, and I'll repeat the same process for the other casing. I'll pass another loop there and stitch it down, and then I'll do the same thing for the other side. So make sure to stitch it down very well after you pass it in. So after I passed in the drawstring into the casing, this is what it looks like. So I went ahead to stitch it down towards that neckline area. So when you wear your dress, you just go ahead to pull it in this way until it sits very well on your shoulder, and then you go ahead to tie it to create that design on the shoulder. So we're basically done now with the upper part of this dress. Let's go ahead to work on the lower part. So measure what you have all around the waistline of the upper part. So mine is 36 inches. So I'm going to be using this measurement now to cut out the lower part. So the lower part of this dress is supposed to be a half circle, but I don't have enough fabric to do that, so I'm working with just 3 yards of crepe fabric. So if you want it exactly like the one on the thumbnail, you're going to need up to 4 to 5 yards of crepe fabric. So for mine, I'm just going to do a simple A-line style, and I have my fabric in a fold of 4. So after folding into 4, the wideness of the fabric is 17 inches. So that is the lowest part of my fabric is going to be 17 inches wide, which is okay. So I'm going to mark a straight line at the upper part, which is going to serve as the waistline. And then from the waistline, I'll come down to my hip line, which is 10.5 inches, and just extend the line. So the length of this lower part is 45 inches. So from the center front, I'm going to take in my round waist measurement, which I measured on the upper part divided by 4, which is 9 inches. And on this part, I'm going to mark my round hip measurement divided by 4. And I'll add 3 inches extra to it and just go ahead to connect it all the way to the waistline. So from that hip line, I'm going to just use my long ruler to connect it all the way to the full length of the dress. So the full length of my dress is about 61 inches. So for this lower part we have 45 and the upper part we have 16. So go ahead to connect it together. So that is all for the lower part. Let's go ahead to cut it out. So let's go ahead now to cut it out. So after cutting at this point, I'll just go ahead to curve it out so that it doesn't appear sharp. So we have the front and the back panel here. So I'm going to fold the back panel into two and just rip the center opened because we're going to be inserting zipper at the back. I'll rip it opened all the way down. So after doing that, I'm going to then join the front and the back panels together on the sides. So I'll place them right sides facing each other and then I'll use half of an inch to join them all the way down. So notice that my crepe fabric is a bit stretchy. So when I'm done doing all of that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after joining all the three pieces together, this is what it looks like. This is to join into the upper part. So go ahead to get the midpoint of the upper part and notch it, and then get the midpoint of this lower one and also notch it. So take the two notched points and place them facing each other this way. So I'll go ahead now to use my pin to merge it on that waistline. So I'll merge the side joining to the side of my skirt as well this way, and I'll do the same thing for the other side. So after that, I'll take this to my sewing machine now and join the two pieces together using half of an inch. I'll join it all the way down. So when I'm done doing that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. So after I join the upper and the lower parts together, this is what it looks like. The next thing I'm going to do is to fold it into two this way to close up the back. Go ahead to align all the points together. Make sure the waist joining is aligned and also make sure the upper part is well aligned. And then I'll use my pin to secure the upper part first, and then I'll go ahead to close up this back. So I'll measure where I want my zipper to stop. So from the back I want it to stop around 17 or 18 inches. So I'll mark that point. From that point I'll stitch it closed all the way down. So when I'm done closing it up, I'll also fold the base twice and stitch it all around. I'll insert the zipper and show you guys the finished product. So after closing up the back and inserting the zipper, this is what it looks like now. You can see how beautiful the dress looks. I've also finished the base just like I explained, and this is what the front looks like. You can see how beautiful it looks. So this is where I'll be ending this video for today. I hope you found it useful and I hope you have learned something new. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel and share to your loved ones. Bye.